Elton Hobson with CanadianProfighter.com down here at the FILA Grappling Invitational with Sam Stout. Sam, thanks for taking the time. Let's get to the news. Everyone's talking about MMA is now legal in Ontario. Your thoughts?
It's about time, man. You know, it's been a long time coming, and I think it's going to be great for everybody in Ontario, not just the MMA community. I think it's going to be it's going to be good for the economy. It's going to bring tourism to Ontario, and I think it's really going to be interesting to see how enthusiastic people are about it, and I think I've seen firsthand how many fans from Ontario come to events in Vegas and Montreal and all over the world. Anytime I fight anywhere in the world, I see people from Ontario, come up to me. So I think it's going to be pretty jaw-dropping when they do the first event. I think they're going to do it at the Rogers Centre, which is by far the biggest venue that the UFC's ever tried to fill, and I think they won't really have a big problem filling it. So
well,
interesting.
I completely agree on both those points. How hard would you petition Dana White or Joe Silva to get onto that card? How much would it mean to you to be on the first one?
Oh, I'd really like to be on that first one. I was on the first UFC card ever in Canada. In Montreal, yeah. So and it's always been a dream of mine to fight in Ontario, and so to be able to be on the very first UFC card in Ontario, that'd be a big honor for me.
Well, that's in the future, obviously. Up next, you're looking across the pond for your next fight against Paul Taylor.
Well, my opponent's coming from across the pond, but the fight's taking place in Anaheim, California, and I'm fighting Paul Taylor. He's making his debut at 155. Tough guy, good technical striker, but I think it's a good fight for me, and I think everything. I think it's the perfect fight.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. He kind of comes from a more wild, wide-open striking. You're more tight and technical. It's kind of a good fight for you style-wise. Assuming you take that fight and talking about the Toronto card, but even if it's not on that card, who do you want as a next opponent, and where do you think this fight will leave you in a stacked 155 division?
Right now, I'm just thinking about Paul Taylor. I'm not looking past him at all. I know that it's it's not an easy fight. It's something I got to take very seriously, and for the time being, I'm taking it. I'm taking things one fight at a time.
And I guess lastly, for fans who don't know, give us a little insight on where you train and what your training's like before a big fight like this. I know you divide your time between here in London and training with Tompkins down in Vegas. Give us some insight, your coaches, and where you break up your camp.
Okay, well, I'm about 10 weeks out from the fight now, and I've been going hard for the last few weeks. But not too hard. I'm putting in about 8 workouts a week here in London, Ontario, at Adrenaline Training Center with working out with Hominick and Hordeski and Clements and James Hort and Pete Brown and all those guys. And in terms of coaching, I have I just get my pad work in with the boys. Adam Higson helps with my pad work. My wrestling, I do most of my wrestling with Clint Kingsbury, and jiu-jitsu. When I'm here in London, I train my jiu-jitsu with Rowan Cunningham, and we got a pretty good thing going on at the Adrenaline Training Center. But I still go out to Vegas, usually about 6 weeks out from my fight. I'll go spend the last few weeks of camp in Las Vegas, and it sounds strange, but I do that to kind of get away from everything, all the distractions I have at home. Right? When I go to Vegas, all I have to think of one mission, and all that is training, and and that's where my coach Sean Tompkins is. So, and also I have a jiu-jitsu coach out there. His name's Keeble Robinson. He's a really, I've really been meshing well with him for the last couple fights, and I really think my jiu-jitsu game is coming a long way because of him. And, so yeah, I'll finish up there and then fly out to Anaheim from there.
Well, speaking of jiu-jitsu, we just saw here at the Absolute Division of the FILA Grappling tournament here today. Your teammate actually won the Absolute Division, Chris Clements. He got his hand raised. What do you think about his performance and some of the other great talents we saw on display here?
Oh no, James Hort won the Absolute Division. James Hort won wasn't it? Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. My bad.
Yeah. It was great. He's been working really hard in the gym. He's been a training partner of mine for years and years. He's one of our instructors over at Adrenaline, actually, and I'm really happy for him, and his hard work's been paying off.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Elton Hobson with Canadian Pro Fighter, signing off.